With ourselves on because I just want to bring you some more on that breaking news from the past few minutes. So, Indian forces have attacked Pakistan with missiles in 3 locations. Pakistan's military spokesman is quoted by the country's state TV as saying that India has attacked them at 3 locations. Should we take a little look? Well, I must inform you that there are also reports of intense shelling and loud explosions now in border areas of the Pakistan-administered state of Kashmir. That's according to the Reuters news agency. Relations between India and Pakistan have declined sharply following a deadly militant Islamist attack on tourists in Kashmir last month. Donald Trump has just been asked about it, and he said, it's a shame. So, OK.
Wise words.
I'm joined now by GBNews' Home and Security Editor, Mark White. Mark, thank you very much for joining us. Big breaking news this, really. So what is the latest? And also as well, I mean, how could this impact us here in Britain, do you think?
Well, it certainly has the potential to do that. I'll get onto that in a second. But this attack has been long anticipated by Pakistan, really ever since the terrorist attack that you mentioned in Indian-controlled Kashmir last month, in which 26 people were murdered, 25 of those Indian citizens and 1 Nepali national. Now, that strike has come this evening. Initial reports had suggested 3 sites were targeted. Now the Indian government confirming that missile strikes targeted some 9 different locations. They've given a statement where they say, our actions have been focused, measured and non-escalatory in nature. No Pakistani facilities have been targeted. India has demonstrated considerable restraint in selection of targets and methods of execution. Well, these strikes have actually happened not just in Pakistani-controlled Kashmir, but in Pakistan itself, in the border region around Kashmir. And as you were just mentioning before crossing to me, there is now intense shelling and gunfire being reported across that border. And the reason this matters is because these 2 old foes have been at war and been at significant conflict in the past. 3 major wars since 1948, multiple other smaller conflicts. But now, of course, these are 2 nuclear-armed states. So some real concern at the potential for this to escalate further. There is no way that Pakistan will not retaliate. They are saying, in fact, that they are going to retaliate. And, of course, that's evident, I think, by what we're seeing initially with the gunfire and the shelling across the border. Now, in terms of the potential risk here in the UK, listen, we have seen over the years, any time there are significant tensions on the subcontinent, that can often play out on the streets of the UK. We only have to remember back to Leicester in 2022, the result of an Indian-Pakistan cricket match in which India won, that resulted in a number of riots in that city and then spread a week later down to Birmingham itself. And there have been countless other occasions where tensions on the subcontinent have played out in the streets of UK towns and cities.
Indeed, Mark, look, thank you very, very much for popping up for us so late in the evening and for keeping us right up to date to what is an ongoing breaking event there. That's Mark White, who's GBNews' Home and Security Editor, very much the best in the business concerning stuff. If there are any other significant developments in the coming minutes, then we will bring them to you. Again, just to say the latest is that India has apparently launched attacks on at least 9 facilities in Pakistan itself, not just in that Kashmir area. Also, as well, Pakistan appear now to be retaliating. We're not 100% sure exactly how successful or otherwise those retaliatory attacks have been.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C-18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GBnews to start protecting yourself digitally today.
Just in light of this, I can't help but wonder whether or not now it looks as though the Prime Minister has taken India's side in all of this, and that might have some ramifications on the streets.
I think the main sort of driver behind getting this deal over the line is Trump's tariffs, and that's kind of pushed countries to be hasty to try and secure free trade deals. I mean, this is only India's 16th, and the 15 previous free trade deals they've signed have been actually not as ambitious as this one. So there is a lot to be said about that. That being said, you know, there are questions around, of course, the numbers, people overstaying their visas, the ability to track them.
But there's also going to be some questions around steel and cement.
Well, I mean, but those questions are around China,
because
not India.
It's not just around China. It's about whether we apply a carbon tax. And this country, at this moment,
just to
not
say, sorry, sir, I do actually seriously think this is quite a significant development.
Look, it's massive. These are two nuclear-armed countries, and they have a history. They have a history of fighting.
I think.
Sorry, can we just go? Sorry, just because
they have a history of fighting several wars since independence, and it's obviously incredibly dangerous whenever they do. Not just because of the standard risks to life, but because these are both nuclear-armed countries, and so
also
obviously
there's a huge diaspora of population in this country.
Absolutely,
as well.
but obviously the UK government is not going to be taking sides, rightly so. But I would strongly expect the UK government to be urging de-escalation, as everyone should be, because it's incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, I must say I am quite concerned. Again, there's this breaking news that we are bringing you that Pakistan says that India has attacked them at 3 locations with missiles. My big concern, as always, when we see a foreign conflict, well, primarily is what does that mean for us here in Britain? And I can't help but wonder whether or not, you know, sectarian violence on the streets of Britain is just around the corner.
Well, there's no history of that.
No, there is, unless
there's very little. There's very little. Not because of India and Pakistan fighting, though.
No, well, it actually,
it was members of the Indian community who happened to be Hindus in Leicester versus members of the Pakistani community.
Yes, it wasn't triggered by military conflict.
Which makes my concern that something like this might lead to that even more significant, I would argue. But coming up,